Alright, so here it is, my Mongoose Decade. I bought it as a frame only, but I worked at a bike shop when I was a kid. I was probably 14 or 15 when I bought this frame. Now, I did want the Decade Pro with the chrome rear section, but in order to get that you had to buy the whole complete bike, which I didn't want because I didn't want the entire bike. So through the years, it's gone through many updates, many changes. I just picked it up from my friend Lee yesterday, where it's been sitting in his garage for 23 years. I was gonna see if the tires would hold air, which I'm doubtful of, and especially doubtful of it since the rim strips have rotted out of it. So I'm not gonna try that. I'm just gonna give it a wash. Probably take these Tioga Compass tees off because I don't think they're gonna come back to life. I'm gonna pull the wheels off of it, see if I can clean the rust off the spokes, which kind of aggravates me because these spokes were supposed to be stainless steel, not carbon steel at least. So I got the pressure washer out and giving it a foam bath first. Try to get some of the nasty stuff off of this thing. The amount of grease coming down from the headset, so I'm gonna say the grease in the headset is broken down and it's just leaked out of it. Bottom bracket doesn't look to be the same, but I mean, it's just crusty, it's just very dirty. So we'll get this all cleaned up. So let's go over some of the things on this bike. All right, so we have the GT race lace tubs. Race lace wheels, I should say. One of the things about them was they had hollow axles. They were lighter. When I built these wheels originally, I did buy them whole, and then I changed the spokes. They were supposed to be stainless steel, and it's kind of annoying me that they're not. Here we have, I believe these were made by GT also. I think they came off of my Performer that the Decade frame replaced, because I like the way some of the things on the Decade were versus the Performer. So the Decade Pro would have had a center pulled rear brake, whereas the non-Pro, look at that, the crank still work, had a regular caliper. I've used Diacomp calipers on all my bikes. I've always felt they were a good quality brake. When I was younger, I never had a problem with them. Moving on to the back of the bike wall as well, let's talk about this for a minute. Bear claw pedals, because you know, for some tricks you didn't want your feet to slide, so that prevented that. Going on to the back, we have, I forgot who made these. These may have been GT pegs. The GT frame extender is what they called it. People often ask me why I have one on one side, but not on the other. And that was actually for tricks where the bike was upside down, so I could wrap my foot around the peg while the bike was upside down. Whereas with the frame extender, it would get in the way and you would only have this much of the peg that you can use. So that's why that is. People often would ask me when I was younger about these. Being that I was always a bigger kid, my back tire would often loosen, so to speak, and I would lose tension on the chain. So these kept tension on the chain for when doing tricks where you were hopping on the back wheel or whatnot, so that way they would not move. See, this one's a little bashed in. Apparently that probably happened during a ramp ride or something, who knows. I used to do everything on this thing. You know, before X Games was X Games, we had, you know, just freestyle ramp riding and ground. One of the things I liked about the Decade was the platform at the seat stay. At some point, I guess I took my Kuwahara layback seat post and switched it with the dyno drain pipe I've had on this bike in the past. I may have switched saddles and whatnot with the race bike. I don't remember why. I have pictures of this bike with the dyno drain pipe and a white seat, but I know the race bike had the black GT padded seat. So here we have the Odyssey gyro, you know, old school, real deal. At some point also, the bike, I used to run a GT box stem. I don't know when I put this Haro stem on it. I think I may have did it after I crushed like 3 sets of handlebars with the GT stem. When we flip it over, we'll get into more detail about the cockpit. But yep, so we do have the GT wings on here. So they are from probably off my Performer, because I think they were chrome on my Performer. I preferred these because the pegs that Mongoose made for the Decade threaded into here instead of bolting in like these GT ones do. Benefit to that was if the bike was on its side, they're not in the way. You know, if you lay the bike on the side, you would end up leaning against the peg. So now the peg's out of the way, or if the stand is out of the way, and that's the reason for that. Alright, so cleaning round one is done. Got most of the surface rust off of the chrome. Still got a little bit on the handlebars, like in the corners, which I will eventually get off. Got most of it off the fold out pegs. Like I said, they are made by GT. Still got to get some of the grease out of, you know, the broken down grease off of the fork. Still in the headset area. The saddle's got some sort of stain on it, which I don't even remember ever putting this seat on it, but apparently I did, because well, the seat post is off my old race bike. Was made by a company called Kuwahara, which has a quick release seat clamp. The pegs, they are GT frame extender. I did one time have a chrome one. I don't know what happened to it. I guess it broke, and that's why I have a green one on it now. Got most of the grease off the bottom bracket. Got most of the rust off of the cranks. And there's all surface rust. The freewheel is sticking a little bit here. I'll have to take that off and clean that out. Yeah, 23 years of sitting in Lee's garage. I mean, a lot of this stuff, a lot of like the rust on the platform. I mean, I rode this bike everywhere. I rode this bike year round. Yeah. So it's seen winters, it's seen salted roads, it's seen everything. It's had good days, it had bad days. I'm actually shocked that I have these grips on it, which, by the way, GT. I think it was a collaboration with Amy Products that they were made. Otherwise, usually it would be an Odie grip that I would use on them, especially their limited edition signature series. But one thing about anything that's a limited edition, if you want to keep it, don't use it on your daily ride. Alright, so like I said, back to the cockpit earlier. I'm actually surprised the calipers move freely. But yeah, we got the Haro stem, the handlebars. When I first put the bike together, I had my GT Performer and handlebars on it with the GT box neck. I did change it out apparently. I think because the Performer bars broke, and I attributed that to how tight that box stem used to clamp down on everything. Then I did buy a set of the Mongoose Decade handlebars in Malibu Mint. I didn't like them. I didn't like the way the bike looked with them. I think it always looked better with chrome handlebars. So got the same handlebars in chrome. The tires, they are Tioga ST Comp STs. One thing about freestyle riders or BMX racers in general is you consider certain parts to be throwaway parts, like brake levers. I got one white one, one black one, and if you notice, the lever on this side here is actually a left side. It's actually bent. We rode these things hard, used them hard. I know I threw it a time or three, maybe more. Rear brake still works. Gyro, both brake lever, the gyro is functioning. I've never used the right cables in the gyro. I don't know why. I've always used 10-speed cables for some whatever reason. Oh, Now, let's see if the locking levers still lock. I wonder. Let's pull that. Yeah, it's not moving. Yeah, the locks are not working. But whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll go through them. We'll take everything apart. We'll clean it. But yeah, brake levers were always a wear item. Always considered, like, to me at least, a throwaway part. Black and white. Apparently, I did have a pair of black and a pair of white at one time. And like I said, you just break, you know, certain things just break. You crash, you wreck. You don't go through with a trick all the way. You know, something's gonna break, something's gotta give. And since brake levers stick out, well, they break. But there she is. Bought the frame and fork new, built it up from there. Parts from different companies. Yeah, let's stare at it for a while longer, huh? Maybe? No. Let's go clean up, put stuff away, give it another cleaning, because there's rust penetrating all over it right now. I was trying to see if I get the rust off the spokes, but the spokes are gonna have to be replaced. Yeah, the bottom bracket needs to be taken apart, cleaned out, re-greased. There's some play in the bottom bracket. It was common on them. But then again, you know, it has sat for a considerable number of years, so the grease in there is probably broken down. The grease in the headset's breaking down, obviously, because it was all over the fork. Eventually I'll find another set of bolts to replace the rusty ones in. Alright, so like I was saying, we'll replace the bolts in the harrow stem eventually. What we were looking at here in this picture is the clearance between the crank arm and the caliper. It is very close. I did have to shave the side of that caliper for clearance. Overall, I think the bike cleaned up pretty well, considering, you know, it is a, I couldn't remember exactly what year I bought it, but it is a 1986, so it is a 37-year-old bike. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. More bike stuff coming.